Hello students, welcome back. Students, as discussed, we are supposed to understand the features of developing economy. Before understanding developing economy, let us get clear with three words. Any economy on earth is broadly categorized in three segments: developed economy, developing economy, and underdeveloped economy. According to economics, development can be rated either of the three. Like we have star rating, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. Same way, the rating of development could be developed, developing, or underdeveloped. Talking about developed economy, the economy which is free from economic problems, where people make good money, where there is absence of issues with people's income, people's lifestyle, where there is very less intensity of unemployment, poverty, where the average income of people in the country, or maybe the per capita income of people, is very high. We call such nations as developed nations. For example, USA. Now, going one step downwards, there are certain countries, they are striving their best to reach developed nation, but they are yet not developed. They are on the way of developed nation. They are developing to be developed. For example, India. So, what are the features of this developing country is what we have got to learn entirely. And the third segment is underdeveloped, where the economy is constantly going down or falling down from the status where it is already today. Generally, it does not happen with any country, but in case of some extreme economic, maybe global economic problem like we are facing just now, maybe the country won't be able to maintain the position that they have it just now also. So then that is underdeveloped. Generally, it's developing and developed, which you will witness everywhere. So the one who is striving is developing, the one who is already achieved that level of development is developed economy. Okay, so now when you are clear with the base, what is developed, what is developing, and what is underdeveloped economy, it will be way more sensible for you to understand the features of developing economy. India is a developing economy, and these are the features. You will find them in our country. So the first feature, students, there are 9 features in all, and you're supposed to learn them. And when this question is asked for more number of marks in board, it is expected that you produce maximum out of it. So let us start. First is less per capita income. We already learned yesterday what is per capita income. If you forgot it, please see the video of yesterday again so that you know it precisely. So per capita income is per head income of any country. Now what happens in any developing economy? The per capita income is less. Why? 2 reasons. The national income, the country's income, the income of people in whole of the nation is very less, and high population growth. So population is increasing, income is not increasing. That leads to lesser per capita income, right? And when the income is less, there could be no possibility of a better lifestyle. So there is the lower living standard is witnessed. So first one, low national income, high population growth, and low living standards are witnessed, leading to less per capita income. I hope you are clear with the first point. Low per capita income. Why low per capita? Next one is population growth. Like here it is mentioned high population growth. The second factor, the second feature says that population is high in developing countries. The growth rate is more than 2%. So like the population in 2020 is 100, then it is 102 in 2021. Or maybe it's more than that also. So more than 2% growth rate of population is really tough for any economy to improve. The reason is when the growth rate of population is high, they are not going to be working population till they turn 20. So it's country who has to feed them, right? So we call them, in economics, we call them as non-productive population. Working age is 15 to 59. Any person that is senior citizen above 59 is non-productive, and any child below 15 is also non-productive according to economy. We do not mean literal productivity. Each part of the society is equally important than another, but we are talking in terms of economics here. Dependence on agriculture. Main occupation in agriculture. Any developing economy you see, any developing economy you take example of, they will have a higher dependence on agriculture. Here they say more than 60% people depend on it. You have to remember this. Wherever I have highlighted with this red, the box, you have to remember that as a data. It might be as an objective too. So more than 60% people depend on agriculture, and contribution in national income is 26% or higher. So if India makes 100 rupees GDP, then 26 rupees share comes from agriculture, and that only 26 rupees is shared by 60% people's effort. Just imagine how much inefficient our agricultural sector would be, and people involved into that also. So these are the three features. The first one was the less per capita income, which is directly linked with the population growth. You have to remember 2% here. And then dependence on agriculture, 60% and more, and 26% of national income is contributed by those 60% dependent on agriculture. Moving forward to unequal distribution of income. This is the biggest challenge for any economy, for any developing economy, and even developed economy to a certain extent. Why? See, talking about our country, 20% rich share 40% of national income. So 100 people in India, out of those 100, 20 people take away 40 rupees out of 100, and 20% poor share only 10 rupees. Now look at this inequality. They are both the top 20 and the bottom 20. This is top 40 and 50. Now you must be thinking, what is this statistics all about? Let us take a simple example, that if country has 100 people, then 20 are super rich, 20 are super poor, bottom poor. So the left ones are 60. They are middle class people. And the share, say suppose our country has got this 100 rupees income, 40 is taken away by this super rich, and 10%, that is 10 rupees, is by the poor people. So 50 rupees is left out. Now these 60 middle class people have to manage in 50 rupees. Isn't it unequal? It is more than unequal. Right, children? So rich goes richer and poor poorer. So this is one of the chief characteristic of a developing economy. You see, in India you can see that our PCI is low, you can see our population growth rate is quite high. We already know that maximum people in India, they are dependent on agriculture. This unequal distribution is highly unequal in our country. Next is unemployment. Unemployment means what? Before understanding this, I would like to take you to a small definition understanding. I'll do it here. Sorry for the mess, children. When a person is wanting to work, is wanting some workplace where he can work, when he is qualified enough, he has the degree, he has the technical knowledge, when he is ready to work at any market wage rate, it's not that he is rigid for the amount. When he makes sincere attempts to find job, he goes everywhere and looks for job, and he still does not get job, he is known as unemployed. Okay? When a person is wanting to work, when he is qualified enough, when he is ready to work at any wage rate, when he makes sincere attempts to find job and he still does not find job, we call him as unemployed. So this is important feature. It's highlighted in textbook that unemployment is the most important feature of any developing economy. Ratio of unemployment is more than 3% of total labor. total labor force in a country where there is 121 crore of population, and out of that maybe 100 crore people wanting to work, and out of that 3% of total labor is a huge amount, huge. And it is not that he is unemployed for a while, the unemployment is for quite long period. Isn't it a matter of worry, children? When I teach this, I see a concern in every child's face. The concern is, in future, will I be a part of this? Because in India, educated unemployment is also there. In the upcoming chapter, I'll explain you all the types of unemployment. But I'm very unemployment sensitive. I really feel bad when people having so much of willingness to work, having certain one or the other quality where he can contribute and still does not get opportunity. Maybe education system has also got this responsibility to make workable people, work ready students, and I always do my best to contribute to mold my children, and you too always make sure that this is very important part, should not be forgotten. Next is poverty. So I hope you are clear with the unequal distribution in unemployment. Now next is poverty. People who can't suffice basic needs. The basic needs, roti, kapda, makan, is edited. The one who cannot suffice food, clothing, shelter, education and medication, they are known as poor people. So under RTE 2009, our government has given free and compulsory education opportunity to unprivileged people, poor people, and even our civil hospitals, they really help to poor with the medication. And in developing countries, it is 1/3 of population. This is again very shocking, right? 1/3 of population being poor, not justified. So yes, but this is the sheer fact. So I always tell all my students that, beta, one noble thing you can do in your life is, when you do well, make sure you employ so many people. You should be responsible for running so many people's house. It's the noblest thing you can do for your nation. You can do for humanity. Being human, you need to. So this is the scenario of poverty in any developing economy, not talking about India only, in any developing economy, but talking about specifically India. Yes, this is the sad fact. So now comes dual economy. Dual means two, double. We have this dual SIM phones, dual. Now what is this dual economy? Economy is having dual faces, two faces. It is a mix of backward and forward, that is modern lifestyle. So in any developing economy, you will see a backward country also, you will see forward part of the country also. Here you get the example of bullock cart and metros. We have bullet trains, we have metro trains, we have all the developed resources of transport, we have air service, but then we still have bullock carts in our rural India. We see people that in a two-wheeler, where ideally two people can hardly sit comfortable, we see 4 to 5 people sitting together and traveling. So in any developing economy, there is always a part of dualism, dual economy. Okay. Then comes insufficient infrastructure. Infrastructure means what? This is my favorite question, but unfortunately I only have to deliver it. Infrastructure means any basic facility that helps your life enrich. From my home, I reached here, there was a good road. In spite of rains, I can still travel because it is metalled road or motorable road or all-weather road, we say. So that is infrastructure. I can connect you, though we are physically distant, with the help of technology, with the help of network, is infrastructure. Decades back, our mother had to share so many hours of her day fetching water. Now we get with turning on our tap, is infrastructure. So basically, infrastructure is the facility government helps us with to make our life easier and better for our basics. Now, infrastructure is divided in two, social and economic infrastructure. Nothing to do with your chapter, but for your knowledge. Social infrastructure is the one that makes people's life easy. Like we get water, electricity, we get good network, we get good roads. This is social infrastructure. What is economic infrastructure? When we travel on highways, we have got to pay toll tax. We pay certain tax to government for the roads we use, or maybe any facility we use, even water tax, even electricity tax. So when government makes money out of infrastructure, that's economic infrastructure. And when people get good lifestyle, we call it, means converting from 3G to 4G is social infrastructure. Our life got better, right? So yes, in any developing country, the infrastructure facility would be insufficient. I don't say it won't be there, there would be absence, it would be insufficient, as in whatever it should be, it is not. Lack of crucially vital facilities like transportation, education, electricity, communication, health. Now when we speak word health, these days only COVID comes to mind. Think about those unprivileged people. Forget COVID, it's we are very soon hopefully going to get out of it. But in general, when we talk about rural India, when somebody is suffering from any severe illness, they do not have sufficient medical facility. They have got to come to the nearest city, they've got to travel a lot. Now when you are ill, you really don't feel to move anywhere. And in that odds, in maybe economic crisis also, they have to worry a lot, they have to struggle a lot, they have to manage a lot, which is not right for any country, right? Each citizen born in country has got the same right, the same fundamental right, but then they have got difficulty to access them. Form of international trade. International trade means buying and selling, and national trade is within the geography, that is local trade what we call, and international trade is the trade, the buying and selling without the boundaries, as in crossing our country's boundary. So what would be the form of international trade in any developing economy? It would be more export of agro and mineral based products. Obviously, because 60% people are doing agriculture, we can expect people selling agro products, but then they have lesser value, they are not as much valuable. And then what do we import? We import machines and technology, they have very high cost. In your upcoming lesson, there will be one word called trade balance. Balance of trade, balance of payments. What is that? If I export of 100 rupees and if I buy of 120 rupees, I'm running short with 20 rupees of fund. And that gap gradually increases and country comes in deficit. Deficit as in with lesser money to pay and very less money to receive. So yes, this is the key factor, key feature of any developing economy, that the form of international trade is very raw. It's very unfinished. It really needs very good attention, and I really hope that in future I'll be teaching the features of developed economy when India would be developed economy, right? Children, though they are all the features of developing economy, we always have hope. We always feel that someday our country will get rid of all these features, and it is you people will be able to do this. So make the most of the resources we have. You can develop the X factor that God has given in you. You should always have this thing in mind, that I'll contribute some or the other way to my nation, so that my country would be a developed economy. I have a dream, and you too must be having, I'm sure about it. I hope that I was clear enough for delivering the entire features of developing economy. In case of any doubt, you can always mention us in the comment section. And thank you so much for showering a lot of love in the very first lecture. And I wish I would keep doing it more, because you guys motivate me a lot. See you then in the next class. Bye bye.